Hello and welcome to Everyday Tarot, where I'm making tarot accessible and intuitive for everyone. I'm your host, Camille A. Saunders, your hallowed high priestess, tarot reader, and professional witch, and today I'm talking about tarot for Leo season. Whether you're a seasoned tarot reader or just starting to explore, this podcast offers insights, intuitive messages, and practical advice drawn from the cards. Each episode is designed to help you connect with your inner wisdom, find clarity in your decisions, and tap into the energy of the universe. Tune in every Monday to check out the latest episode. If you want to carry the magic with you, the Everyday Tarot merch collection is here. So if you've ever found comfort in an episode, discovered a new perspective through a card pull, or felt seen by this community, this is a way to take a little of the magic with you wherever you go. Every purchase helps support the podcast and allows me to continue creating free tarot content, sharing card wisdom, and building a space where tarot is accessible, intuitive, and truly for everyone. Thanks for listening, sharing episodes, leaving reviews, and supporting this work in all the ways that you do. It means so much more than you know. So carry the magic of tarot with you and support the Everyday Tarot podcast while you do. So the link for your merch to check it out will be in the show notes. I have gotten myself a purple tank top, a white crop top, and there are lots of options. I think there's 8 different types of clothing or cuts available, and then within those you can choose all different kinds of colors. I tried to have a good mix of neutrals, different sizes. They're pretty size inclusive, as well as lots of colors if you're like me and you love the maximalist style. Um, so other ways you can support the podcast are joining the Everyday Tarot family on Patreon. You can get exclusive tarot content like live access to New Moon Collective Tarot readings, get to meet other listeners in a members only chat, and get access to bonus resources like my tarot card crafting workshop and tarot spreads I'm sharing. Those are also available outside the Patreon. It's just that if you're a Patreon member, you get them for free. Otherwise, you have to pay a small fee for them. And you get a chance to help shape the future of the podcast. You can join through the link in the show notes. I'm also, the last couple episodes, I've been doing it, and I'll tease it at the end, but I am doing an additional card pull every episode just for Patreon members. So after the full episode today, I'll tease for Patreon and I'll hop on over there and do like a 10-minute another tarot card pull kind of based off of what I pull at the end of the episode today. So if you just want more, there is that as well. And I've been doing them probably at least for the last month. So whenever you join the Patreon, you'll get the backlog as well. You'll get access to all of those. So you can always go back and check out what other readings have come up for that week. You can still book Pay What You Can tarot readings with me before the end of July. As long as you book them by the end of July, I will honor it. You'll get a 30-minute virtual video reading with me live, and then I'll send you a full write-up of the cards, themes we discussed, images of the cards that I pulled during the reading, and the full recording afterwards. If other than that, you can listen, leave a review, and subscribe or follow in your favorite podcast app to support the podcast. If you want to watch the videos for each episode, which I've been doing since the beginning of 2026, you can go to the Everyday Tarot podcast on Spotify or YouTube, and soon coming to Apple Podcasts. You can join my newsletter list where you can get my Hallowed Tarot Spread Workbook, the most up-to-date info on upcoming events, presentations, musings, and info and photos of my day-to-day life. And if you want to be a guest, you can fill out my guest inquiry form if you or someone you know would like to be on the guest on the podcast. If you want to nominate someone, you can always send me an email at me@CamilleASaunders.com and just shoot me a name or kind of their contact info, and I'll be happy to reach out as well if there's someone you want to get on the podcast. I had a great time interviewing Julia Popescu earlier. This episode came out this month, who is the artist behind the Goddess of Love tarot deck that I love so much, that they did in cooperation with Gabriella Herstick, who did a lot of the write-ups for the cards and had kind of the vision for it. Julia was able to execute the sort of collage style Goddess of Love tarot deck that I really love. So that was so enjoyable to get to pick her brain, kind of hear about her other tarot deck that she's done. And then actually, if you check out the wall behind me, I have some new prints from her as well. I'll check on it, but she had a prints sale going on at snakesforhair.com. And so I grabbed some of her stuff and a candle. Let's see if I see it. This alchemy candle behind me. This is from her site as well. So she does kind of like these prayer altar candles with different themes. I'm very excited to start burning this one. It smells like roses. And then, yeah, I have some new prints behind me. I have a very maximalist background, but I've added some more stuff lately. So that's very fun. So if you look behind me, there's like a Ace of Cups. And what else? There's a Nine of Pentacles. Those are from 2 of the decks that she's created. Okay, yeah, she still is having the digital sale right now. So she has selected prints. You can see behind me the kind of size, and they're like $5 right now. So I grabbed a bunch of those and got a candle from her because I wanted to support her work, but also just I really love, having some more tarot art behind me. And there's also other art that she's created on there. So I'll also link her website, snakesforhair.com, so that you can go check it out over there. And yeah, if you haven't checked out that episode, it was 2 episodes ago. So last time was Hilary Duff's recent album and tour that I got to attend, which was super fun. And then the one before that. So on the 13th of July was the Julia Popescu guest interview episode. All right, let's get back to what we're talking about. But yeah, you can always find the links for any of these offers in the show notes or for free on Patreon. I'll always have like the links and stuff over there on Patreon as well. And then if you want to become a member, you can get some of those extra things that I've talked about. But today we are discussing tarot for Leo season. So as you hear this, we will have entered Leo season on July 23rd, and that will go all the way through August 22nd, 2026. So this episode is coming out for you. We've a couple days into it. So the Leo Zodiac sign, Leo is the loyalist ruled by the sun. The glyph looks like a lion's mane or tail, which is just kind of the symbol associated with Leo. So you may know those kind of symbols if you know the Zodiac signs at all, or at least your own sign. I know for Aquarius, it's like the 2 little waves. So for the zodiac houses, Leo is associated with the 5th house, and that rulership is around creation, procreation, recreation, and children. Its ruling sign, again, is Leo, the lion, associated with courage and showmanship. And the ruling planet for Leo is the sun and the source of energy and enlightenment. So we are in kind of the height of summer, at least in the northern hemisphere. Leo is associated with, again, the lion, strength, and those cards will be coming up as we talk major arcana cards. But so again, the signs and planetary rulers for Leo are Leo, and then it's a fixed sign. It is associated with the element of fire and associated with the sun as the sort of planet correspondence. The sun is not a planet, it's a star, but it still kind of has that association. So last month we talked about Cancers associated with the moon. So now we have the sun. So we kind of had this like duality of the sun and moon in these 2 months here. So for the major arcana cards, like I said, associated with Leo, we have the Strength card as the major arcana associated with Leo. And then we have the Sun card associated with the sun, the planet, and its kind of correspondences, our associations, our energy, enlightenment, radiance, illumination, the center of everyone's world, the self or the ego. It's an active or known as masculine symbol, and the astrological glyph for the sun depicts it as the center. So it kind of has a dot and then a circle around it because it's supposed to represent the center of the solar system. All right. So, and then I am grabbing most of this information from Tarot and Astrology, this book by Karine Kenner, talking about enhance your readings with the wisdom of the zodiac. So, let's talk a little bit about the strength and the sun cards. So, I'm going to pull those up in here. So, Leo, again, associated with strength. It's a card of courage and self discipline. Again, we have that sort of lion association often, or at least big cat, something courageous, bravery, determination, often depicted on the strength card. It says the young woman in the card might seem fearless, but that's not necessarily the case. She'd be the first to tell you that she both fears and respects the power of every wild creature. She's learned, however, to maintain her composure even in the face of danger. She's also learned that some animals feed on fear, so she refuses to display any hint of vulnerability. Instead, she snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. In older tarot decks, strength was sometimes called fortitude, a cardinal virtue aligned with temperance, justice, and prudence. And in a similar vein, Leo is also a sign of valor, daring, and willpower. Both Leo and Strength are generous, warm, dramatic, flamboyant, magnetic, strong minded, optimistic, honorable, loyal, frank, energetic, and regal. Most Leos, the strong, self confident showmen of the zodiac, would have no qualms about stepping into the center ring of the circus if it meant that they could demonstrate their courage and ability to the crowd of admirers. It says, like the brave young lion tamer often depicted on the strength card, they take a certain pride in their ability to shine in the spotlight. In fact, the ferocious beast in most versions of the strength card is simply a reminder of Leo's signature animal, the lion. Leo people, or when Leo, or you have a lot of Leo placements, or you're a Leo sun sign, are usually strong, brave, inspiring, and showy, as the strength card would suggest. It says there's also kind of this more shadow side of Leo that can be vain, proud, self important, but having tamed lion after lion, and they probably have earned the right to show off a bit. If we think about lions as an animal, they hunt and dispatch their prey without bitterness, it says, recrimination, or regret. The lion is also an alchemical symbol for the sun, Leo's ruling planet, along with gold and sulfur. The glyph for Leo, as I talked about earlier, looks like a lion's tail, so it kind of has like a squiggle to it. Um, or a lion's mane. Most versions of the card feature both the glyph and the lion, and again, that's on the strength card itself, or a similarly formidable creature of the wild, like a tiger or a dragon, are often in there. It says in the Wizard's Tarot, which they often depict in this book in particular, the strength card depicts a wyvern, a dangerous dragon-like creature with wings, two legs, and a serpent's tail. If you read a lot of like fantasy books, they often talk about wyverns and dragons. The wyvern isn't likely to bite the hand that feeds him. Any close interaction with the creature entails an element of risk. Leo rules the fifth house, as I said earlier, of the zodiac, where astrologers look for information about creativity, creation, procreation, and recreation, right? All of those things have that root word in them of creativity, or like creating something, often out of nothing, which again is this sort of like alchemical process. Leo, in turn, is ruled by the sun, the radiant center of the solar system, our solar system. Leo personalities typically like to be in the spotlight of center stage. In astrology, the sun symbolizes the ego and the individuality of the self. The sun is often in Leo between about July 21st through the 23rd. I told you for this year, we're a couple days later, it's the 23rd of July through August 22nd. Leo rules the hottest month of summer, again, often in the northern hemisphere, where the earth is closest to the sun, the days are long and scorching, and the season is at its peak. Right, again, we kind of just had summer solstice, again, in the northern hemisphere, around June 21st, right, the kicking off of Cancer season. And so again, at least where I live, like, yeah, we're really in like the height of the high summer, where we get kind of the hottest, driest temperatures. This makes it a fixed sign because, again, they talk about that heat and the sun being associated with it. So it's established, clearly defined, and unmistakably fiery. Leo is also a fire sign. In both astrology and tarot, fire represents spiritual energy, passions, and drive. Leo is one of the most flamboyant signs, determined to shine and stand out from the rest of the celestial crowd. Leo rules the heart and spine. It's no accident that we use the term heart and backbone to describe the bravery and determination of heroes, which is very cool. I love that. So, as we think about the sun, again, as the planetary ruler and the card, the sun rules Leo, the sign of creativity, recreation, procreation, as I said earlier. The sun also associated with the heart and spine. Often the sun gets related to like God or the God or a God themselves. The sun, again, in our solar system, is the source of our light, heat, radiant, life giving energy. We would not be able to exist without the heat and light of the sun. We measure our days by rising and setting sun, and it's a metaphor for life and death, a symbol of our hope for rebirth. In most tarot decks, the sun card depicts a golden child, or often like a cherub, like a cupid kind of looking baby. It says you might recognize them as Apollo, the Greek and Roman god of music, healing, divination, truth, and light. The sun is an important focal point in any astrological chart. It represents the ego and self. So again, we all have all signs within us, even if we don't in our astrological chart have a placement in each sign. So the different houses for your chart, again, will sort of pinpoint where certain planets were in the sky when you were born, which is why it's called a birth chart. Um, but we all have all of those like aspects within us. So we all have a Leo part of ourself that, again, is sort of that passion, vitality, energy, strength, self-esteem, willpower, purpose, drive, our our concept of self and our identity. It says because the sun is so visible, its placement in an astrological chart can highlight areas of fame, public recognition, and acclaim, and also represent sometimes like a strong male figure or masculine energy. It says like a father, a boss, or a respected teacher. The sun's energy is typically seen as masculine and direct. And again, this is sort of like in opposition or in binary to the moon energy that is seen as feminine and passive or indirect. And again, these are concepts of that we have a divine masculine and divine feminine within all of us, no matter your sex or gender, that we all, again, have all parts of this within us. Yeah, so that is the sun. What else do I want to get into here? We could talk about the court cards. So, the court card associations, I'm just flipping in my book with Leo. So, if you've been following along with the other episodes of the tarot for enter or outline your zodiac season here. I've gone through all of them that we've gone through so far in 2026 for the year. So in this month of July, we are entering Leo season. So Leo is associated with the King of Wands and then the Knight of Pentacles. Each zodiac sign gets two court card associations, and they go with both the prior season and the next season. So for example, the King of Wands is also associated with Cancer season, and then the Knight of Pentacles is also associated with Virgo season, which is next in line. So we kind of have that like the sign that came before and the sign after associations. So we think about the King of Wands. Again, kings are the King of Wands is the ruler of fire, embodies the spirit and passion of Leo, which is a sign of fixed fire. And fixed kind of just means like, I'm trying to remember the other. We have cardinal, we have fixed, and we have mutable. So fixed would be kind of the like bold and or stubborn energy, right? Like if something is fixed in place or it's kind of like unmovable, right? Again, in opposition to a sign that is more mutable. We have here like fire, and then we have the fixedness. So it can be that this might look like, or even in this season of time, what we all go through, Leo season, there might be things that are sort of like combustible. It says the King of Wands is a combustible mix of the element of fire combined with the airy intellectualism of the king. So again, like wands are associated with the fire sign, and then kings are associated with air. And when you mix air and fire, right, like things literally can explode, the fires get bigger. Fires need air or oxygen in order to fuel them. And so that can be very, yeah, it can be ideas or concepts or emotions can kind of run like wildfire. Again, for better or worse. It says that the King of Wands is a confident, courageous monarch. Like his major arcana counterpart, the Lioness card of strength that we talked about earlier, he is forceful and brave. And like Leo's ruling planet, the sun, he's a source of light and inspiration. Again, if we think about the most generous view of like a monarch king, um, you think of like they are the one kind of responsible for everyone, for making sure everyone is doing okay, for protecting their people, for making sure everyone has food, right? Again, these are that's why I say that the most generous version of a monarch. That is not how all monarchs or those in power operate or do leadership. But if we can think about like the most, I use the word generous, but like I don't know, the most like holistic version of what a king would be or what it's like to embody a king in your own life. Um, it says, as of all the tarot king's leaders, they are all leaders, but the King of Wands may be the most charismatic of the four. Admirers gravitate to him. His leadership style is inspiring, and he gives voice to his followers' deepest, most heartfelt desires, right? That again is that like good aspect, or what I would love to see if we do have monarchy. Like I want someone that's going to take care and feel responsible, or kind of again give voice to things that their constituents, that they're the people that are um, that they feel are responsible for underneath them, that they're making sure that they are representing them in that way. And it says, in this process, he imbues them with his own sense of pride and self-awareness. As a result, of course, the King of Wands then on the sort of shadow side can be egotistical, egocentric, dramatic, and occasionally dictatorial, right? Again, that perhaps that's the side of kings or leaders that we often see today. Forceful, aggressive, can even be explosive. Again, that kind of like fixed fire means, and the airiness of kings. The suit are that they can be explosive. It says, in fact, the King of Wands won't hesitate to employ a scorched earth policy if he needs to make a point. Again, I think we all know some leadership internationally, nationally, wherever you may live, that employs some of these tactics. They understand the cleansing, purifying power of fire, along with the renewal that will inevitably follow. And again, that's sort of if we look at like the like holistic version of what it means to like burn something down. Indigenous people often burned crops at the end of the season, or different weeds or other things as a means of contributing ash to the soil, nutrients to the soil in order to regenerate plants for the next season, right? Like it can, right, get rid of pests, it can help break down plant material, and that like renewal can follow again like in a more diplomatic scorched earth policy. I would say I don't always see the sort of regenerative aspect that comes after. I think we often, it's hard to focus on anything other than the like violence and scorched earth, like burn it all down. um what am I trying to say? Like policies that some dictators, leaders choose to do. But it says the King of Wands can also be seen as playful. It says the King of Wands rules the third decan of Cancer, which again means that like at the end of Cancer season, as we about to move into Leo, that's where the King of Wands sort of overlaps the two signs. And then it says, and the second decans of Leo and its natural horoscope, the primary domain in the fifth house of recreation and procreation. Again, like sort of like games, of playing outside, of any sort of thing that you're doing for fun, right? Which again, often we are all passionate about. It says, like the sun, they can also be a source of life and creativity, and he can father countless generations of descendants. Again, this is like a generous version of the King of Wands and Leo, and it says the passion of fixed fire is what this particular iteration of Leo and the King of Wands can mean. If you have your own tarot deck, go ahead and look at your King of Wands card, see what's depicted on there, see if there's any of that like combustion, fixed fire, and air kind of associations there. And then let's transition into talking about the minor arcana cards associated with Leo season, which are the Five of Wands, which is between July 22nd and August 1st. So, right as this episode comes out, we are in the kind of Five of Wands um, section of Leo season, and that is associated with Saturn. Saturn is the what Saturday in English is named after. Saturn is kind of lord of discipline, of the color black, of a bit of rigidity sometimes, or even like considered like dominance. So there may be themes of that coming up in your life right now. Again, if you think of the Five of Wands card, wands are the fire sign in the tarot, so we have that fiery energy. And the Five of Wands often depicts conflict, depicts people kind of like fighting over wands or trying to all clamber to the top of something. I know I have a deck that depicts like five people, and they all have kind of like a staff, so like like a like a long stick, like a hiking stick, that they all have, and they're all trying to like they're like trying to create a ladder using their sticks or their wands, but no one's really working together. And so it looks like people standing on top of each other, or like it's like if you have five sticks separately, it's going to be very hard to create a ladder. But if you all work together and put them together, help each other, then, right, then everyone can go up the ladder if you create it out of those five wands and then climb it. So there is this level of like, there might be tension, there might be this like, again, relational conflict, or like that fiery energy, even just the literal heat outside might be making you feel angry, rageful, frustrated, right? All of those things I think I can imagine getting associated with the Five of Wands. Just flipping in my book here to look at. Um, so for the next part of the season, August 2nd through the 11th, that's associated with the Six of Wands, again, associated with fire, as the wands are. And this one's associated with Jupiter, and Jupiter has a bit more of like abundance. Jupiter is a large planet. It has all these different kind of like colors swirling. If you can look at images of it with the Six of Wands, right, we're moving into a bit more of like, we're getting further towards the end of the, right, if 10 is kind of the culmination, ace is the beginning, 6 is like we're on slightly on the other side of the conflict where maybe we've started working together, maybe there's something coming up there. And then for the final part, the Seven of Wands for August 12th through 22nd, generally, again, like there's a slight shifting every year. It's about those days, is associated with the Seven of Wands, again, associated with fire, and that's associated with Mars. And Mars, again, is like the red planet, often a lot more associated with like conflict, with war. If we think of Mars as like the god of war, that again, there is a bit more of that like fieriness of wands and of Leo season that might be, I mean, wands are also about taking action, right? Fire, like the words that we use, like a spark of creativity, or things spread like wildfire. Like all of these things are about like passion and ideas and how quickly they can move through communities or systems. And so with the Seven of Wands, fire, and Mars, maybe there is a bit more of that going on. Maybe there's a bit more energy behind something. There's where ideas are coming, or action is coming. People are coming, starting to imagine working together to try to reach that culmination of the Ten of Wands. All right. Well, I think I'm going to end there for kind of that part of the Tarot for Leo season reading. Again, go ahead and look at your Sun and Strength cards, the King of Wands, the Knight of Pentacles, and then the 5, 6, and 7 of Wands, and see what you see. If you see any Leo or fire or different associations there, different decks choose to do different things, so that's very cool. Most of my information today is pulled from Tarot and Astrology, the book Enhance Your Readings with the Wisdom of the Zodiac by Karine Kenner, as I showed earlier. I will link for the Snakes for Hair website, so you can go buy some prints of stuff if you like what you see, or some altar candles or whatever. And then if you haven't yet, go check out the Julia Popescu guest episode. I think it's called Collage. What did I call it? Anyway, something like that, because she does a lot of collage artwork. And then, today I am going to pull a card from the Snag Tarot deck, my recent favorite, and see what else the cards have to share with us today. What else do we need to know for Leo season? What's going to be happening? What are we creating? What ideas or actions are fiery this time of year? And I pulled the 5 of Cups in reverse. So let me pull up the Snag Tarot guide so I can show you what we see here. So we're 5 of Cups. Okay. Share window. Oops. Okay. All right. So you can see here the 5 of Cups. Kind of dark, ominous, again, very Grim Reaper. I pulled this card recently. You see the 3 cups here, and then the 2 that are knocked over. So kind of like different things going on. Again, we have a lot of like orange and black vibes here. It says, so upright, the traditional meaning would be loss, grief, regret, focusing on what has gone wrong. And they say their take on the card is that 5 of Cups speaks to grief in its many forms. Something has not worked out. It's important to acknowledge that. And at the same time, the card gently reminds you that not everything is lost. There may still be support, connection, or possibility around you, even if it's hard to see. Give yourself space to feel, but do not assume the story ends here. And when I think about what a reversal would mean, so we can think about reversals as an internal version of like self. So if the external version is maybe grieving outwardly, or being frustrated with other people, or kind of outwardly disappointed, maybe the reversal is a bit like something internally, whether that could be like your health, or just maybe like self-esteem, or even self-talk is feeling challenging right now, right? Maybe you've kind of been hard on yourself, and Leo season is saying like, hey, give yourself a break, right? If Leo is all about kind of this like ego and our identity, right? Sometimes we can be hard on ourselves as an aspect of that. And so I would say this card's saying like, give yourself a break. Like, things might be hard right now, but they will get better. Another way to read reversals are like too much or too little of something. So again, if we think about this card and when it says grief, something not working out, I would say too much or too little of that would be either you're kind of getting lost in the grief and like wallowing or like really feeling like, oh, I don't know if this is ever going to change, right? A reversal might mean like, again, hey, like, try to have some hope or like, okay, let's not get totally lost in it. Maybe ask again for support or connection or what is possible around you, what is working, even if it feels like a lot of things aren't. Give yourself space to feel, right? That's what it says at the bottom there for the upright version. So, like, actually, don't try to like bypass your emotions and just say, oh, like, I should just get over it. Like, feel the emotions, let yourself cry and things like that. And then right, try to transmute that into something else or, okay, how am I gonna move forward? What am I gonna do differently? Things like that. It could be a place where you're feeling blocked, again, with grief. It could be, like, trying to just get over it instead of actually allowing yourself to feel it. And then the last way to look at a reversal, as described by the Biddy Tarot, which are, like, where these 4, things come in, that I've really been enjoying that read on it recently is that you look at the image itself upside down. So, of course, I'm showing the upright here, but when I turn mine upside down, when we see these cups here, which these ones look very stable in the upright, and these ones look upside down or like look knocked over. When we turn them around, it looks like the 3 cups are pouring out, right? We don't see it, but they would be pouring out if they had liquid in them. And then these 2 actually like look like when you ring bells, like church bells or like hand bells. Um, is what like I see upside down. And I feel like there's kind of this like something's coming in, something like maybe you've lost these 3 things, right? All the liquid out of them if they were full, if we turn it upside down. But actually, these things are heralding in a new idea or, yeah, some hope or something is coming in as well. And so don't get too caught up in or lost in again what you've lost, but maybe actually focus on like what is being found in this time period. All right. All right. Well, and that is it for today. So again, that was from the Snag Tarot deck, and I pulled the 5 of Cups reverse. That's the collective reading for the week, but I am going to head over to Patreon to pull a clarifying card specifically for blockages and how to overcome them. So right for this, that would be like, how do we overcome that feeling of getting lost in the grief or lost in the sauce? And being able to see some bright and silver lining. If you want to see that exact card and what it means for your energy, you can click the Patreon link below and join us for the rest of the reading. So you'll be getting episodes published on Mondays every week in 2026, guest episodes about once a month, and every episode is recorded on video, which you can check out on Spotify and YouTube and soon to be on Apple Podcasts. If you or someone you know would like to be a guest on the podcast, please fill out my form to be a guest in the show notes. Links for the decks I talk about will be in the show notes and on Patreon. And thanks for joining me today on Everyday Tarot. Tune in every Monday to check out the latest episode. You can email me, at CamilleASaunders.com with your thoughts, questions, and more. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.